Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gabbing with Oof with your host, your friendly neighborhood Oofman here. Thank you so much for everybody who checked out the other videos on my channel, Oofman Entertainment. I know last time I said I was going to make a video about the state of AEW and where their current storylines are going, but after this interesting week that we had in WWE, I decided to make WWE's State of the Union or current status first because a lot has happened in these last couple days. So the AEW will probably come after this one, maybe after the next Dynamite. Well, we'll see what happens. But I had to talk about what everybody is talking about. Well, you know how we do it in this channel. We're going to gab about it. So we're going to gab about what is going on with WWE, and especially right after WrestleMania. WrestleMania 41 was a week ago. And what we're going to do is we're going to gab about the road to the actual event and the post Mania noise that's going on, because a lot happened, like I said, this week on what happened, not only the fallout of WrestleMania, but a lot has been said as to what has happened. If you saw the pay-per-view, you probably know what I'm talking about. And so we're going to dive right into it. So before we begin, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can get the next video. Like I said, the next one will be AEW's State of the Union, quote-unquote, Oofman's address. But right now, we're going to do the WWE's current State of the Union, quote-unquote, address. And basically, like I said, we're going to talk about the fallout of WrestleMania and what's going on. Most importantly, because this past, I believe, Tuesday, The Rock, yes, the final boss, went on Pat McAfee's show on ESPN to talk about WrestleMania. And if you, like I said, if you saw WrestleMania, you know where I'm going with this, because The Rock did not show up at WrestleMania, and it blew a big curveball to what happened at Mania. And again, if you saw WrestleMania, you have your opinions about it. The overall status, overall reviews that I'm looking at WrestleMania was that overall it was a okay show, and I don't think WrestleMania should be okay. WrestleMania's got to be literally, as they're called, the granddaddy of them all. But this year's WrestleMania was interesting. So in order to explain what's going on, and again, you've probably heard about it, but the way for me to explain it in my own brain is we're going to be jumping back and forth from the build up to WrestleMania, before the build up of WrestleMania, last year's WrestleMania, back to the Rumble, back to what The Rock said, and it's a mess that I know I'm not making a big deal out of it, but I'm just trying to find out what happened with what The Rock has said, with what Triple H has said, and what we saw. And again, answering probably the question of the week is will this happen again? And we're only going to answer that but first we have to look back to what happened, and then the ultimate answer is, will this happen again? And I'll talk about what I'm talking about. So I'm going to try to begin to, again, let it explain to everybody what went on. And again, from what I saw, what I'm reading, and give my opinion as to what I, as a viewer, saw. I, as a fan of wrestling. Okay, so The Rock went on Pat McAfee's show, and basically he said, in a nutshell, and you can check out Pat's show with the Indie with The Rock. Again, I'm sure the clips are all over YouTube right now. It's all viral. So basically, in a nutshell, he said that he was approached before the Elimination Chamber by Ari Emanuel, the CEO of Endeavor. And according to The Rock, again, take a shot every time I say according to The Rock, because you might need 911 on speed dial. But anyway, according to The Rock, he said that Ari contacted him saying that ticket sales to Elimination Chamber in Toronto were slow. And so he asked The Rock if he would, or Dwayne, whatever you want to call him, he asked him to, hey, do you mind making an appearance at the Elimination Chamber to bump up ticket sales? And according to The Rock, he said he'll get back to him. He'll get back to him, and maybe with an idea. Okay. And again, according to The Rock, he got back to either Ari or Triple H or Nick Khan or somebody. He just got back and said, sure, but let's do something more. And so the idea was that The Rock was going to show up at Elimination Chamber, but he decided to add something to his appearance. And so he got in contact with WWE, and the idea was pitched, according to Dwayne, that he would think it would be a good idea for Cody to go heel. That was his idea. Now, on Pat McAfee's show, he said, well, I didn't really want him to go heel now, but here's the idea. What about Cody going heel? And again, I paused this story to think back to last year's WrestleMania build where The Rock inserted himself again in Cody's way. After Cody won the Rumble last year, he guaranteed his spot to WrestleMania. But then out of nowhere, Rock comes back and says no. And then Cody actually goes on SmackDown, I believe it was, and says, Roman, I'll see you later. And he ushers in The Rock, and it's going to be The Rock against Roman. And and as you remember, there was a huge backlash to that, and rightfully so. I mean, this guy won the Rumble for a second year in a row. He failed at WrestleMania 39 to win the title, so it seemed like logic said, okay, he won the Rumble again. This is going to be Cody's year. He's going to finish the story. That was the tagline, finish the story, finish the story. But out of nowhere, The Rock comes back and inserts himself in there, and like I said, I was so happy for the fan backlash, but the fan backlash, in my opinion, got to The Rock last year. I mean, something happened to his ego, because let's keep it real, Rock has a huge ego. And it got to him where they about face and said, all right, kill these plans, let's make it Cody and Roman. But then they had the Night 1 main event for WrestleMania Night 1 last year, which led to WrestleMania Night 2, the big kerfuffle. It was an overbooked mess, but it got the proper ending to the story. The only thing missing last year was Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out and stunning The Rock. I love Taker and all that, but just imagine that building. Rock is standing there looking all over the place, all cocky looking, and the glass shatters, and out comes Austin. WrestleMania in Philadelphia, just like WrestleMania 15, one more time, Rock eats a stunner from Stone Cold, and Cody wins the title. But it didn't happen. So anyway, I digress. So the story ended last year. So again, we now flash forward to this year, and Rock presents this story to again, somebody in WWE to say, what about wanting Cody's soul, I believe is what he said on the show. And again, at the moment before Elimination Chamber, all eyes were on really Cena, because the storyline was that the story is that it's Cena's last year. So all eyes and attention are on him. He didn't win the Royal Rumble. And so at the press conference at the Royal Rumble, he sounded very desperate. Like, I must now enter myself in the chamber. Because what other chance does Cena have to win the title? Number 17, that was it. Can Cena win title number 17, break Ric Flair's record in his last year in the company? And so that's where the attention was. But also at the same time, you had Cody was a bona fide babyface. He was on fire, merch selling. The crowd sings this song. Place goes nuts when he comes out. Turning Cody heel would have been a horrible idea. So somebody nixed it, and then somebody said, well, what about Cena? I think it was Triple H. And Cena's a company guy. It's his last year. He's willing to just do business for the greater good. And so they approached Cena. He said, sure. Okay. And plus, making a face Cody versus a heel Cena would be much more interesting than a face Cody versus a face Cena, because Cody was basically, no pun intended, Cena's prototype. I know that's a shout out to his old gimmick, but Cody was just another version of Cena, the company guy, the good doer, doing the Make-A-Wish Foundation, hidey ho, that chipper, you know? And so maybe it would have been boring, but again, let's go back to The Rock. So The Rock says, include me in the WrestleMania into to Elimination Chamber, which again, not a problem. But I go back to what he said. If he was contacted to just show up to Elimination Chamber to make an appearance to quote unquote get ticket sales higher, that's what he should have done. He should have shown up to Chamber, have a comedy skit, or just host the event, or just show face. Because it's like the promotional posters went from everybody in the Chamber matches to just The Rock. The whole soul thing. So now we can get to that SmackDown. And the idea is pitched that, okay, so Rock's going to come back, and he's going to demand Cody's soul. Now, I, along with others, were like, what in the what? what? You want Cody to give you his soul? It's like, is The Rock trying to literally possess Cody? I mean, it would have been better if they just went with the, I want you to be my champion. I want you to represent The Rock. I want you to represent what fame is, what Hollywood is, what fortune is, what money is, what lucrative deals is. And he did say that, but in those SmackDowns heading to the Chamber, it's like Rock was buying Cody. And that's where it just was weird. It's like, this is me acting like Cody. You want me to give you my soul, and you're giving me all these luxury stuff, lobster in the locker room, his tequila or whatever. It's like he's giving Cody things that Cody could buy. He can buy limousines, a new car, expensive food. Cody can do it. He's the WWE, at the time, the WWE champion. So in storyline purposes, if you're the champion, and in real life, I'm sure, if you're the WWE champion, you're a champion, then you're making the big bucks. And in Cody's situation, if he's the WWE champion, he's the top guy in the company, he's making millions. So I didn't understand those SmackDowns with Rock trying to buy Cody. It's like, there's a difference between giving me your soul and I'm going to buy you. It's like, with me, he sounded like a genie, like an Aladdin, like, come with me and all your dreams will become true. Cody, again, dumb baby face syndrome, should have been like, Rock, I can afford all this stuff already. I don't need it because I don't want to buy it, but I could buy a new truck. I could buy all this expensive food, clothes, watches. But I can do it. Why do I need you? So right there, I wasn't liking that. We get to Elimination Chamber, and finally, the moment of truth. But then Rock shows up with Travis Scott for reasons. I guess Travis Scott was, if I'm correct, sang one of the WrestleMania theme songs, because they have like 20 for the show. All right, whatever. Travis Scott shows up, and there's The Rock, and there's Cody. All right, let's hear your answer. And we all know what Cody said. All right, I'm not going to repeat it due to, YouTube stuff, algorithms, and, don't want to get penalized. He pretty much told The Rock to go F himself. Cool. A couple minutes before, Cena won the Elimination Chamber. And he won it almost a little bit in like almost heelish mode, where it's like Punk surrendered. He didn't tap out, and he held on to the STF longer than normal. And finally, he got off and he won. So Cena achieved what he wanted. Would The Rock achieve what he wanted? No, because Cody told him to F himself. And so Cena celebrates. He hugs Cody. And then Rock does it, the countdown. Cena separates himself from Cody, and he kicks him in the Cody Rhodeses. And so the big heel turn for the first time in many years, and first time since I can remember, but there he was. Heel Cena. We're live. I do this, no editing. So heel Cena is finally in WWE. Or at least he's back. He was the Doctor of Thugonomics heel character, so now he is a heel once again. What was the final image in our brains at Elimination Chamber? Cody destroyed, because Cena destroyed him with the belt and all that. Travis Scott got his licks in there too. What was the final when we saw the copyright figure? Rock, Travis Scott, and John Cena. And in all of our minds, we're like, we have a brand new trio. I'm not going to say those other three letters from WCW where it was three guys wreaking havoc. No. But it looked like a new faction, a new heel faction. Like, whoa, we got Hollywood Rock, the final boss, Travis Scott, who's worthless, but a heel John Cena. Okay, you have my attention now. Now we got a babyface Cody Rhodes and a heel John Cena led by the final boss, The Rock, and we got 6 weeks to go for WrestleMania. Okay. I accepted. I went, cool. But then what happened? No Cena. No Rock. No Travis Scott for 2 weeks. And then finally, in London, Cena told us why he did what he did. And apparently, he did it because of us. Cena started healing not only on other wrestlers and on Cody when he showed up later, he healed on us. And his reasoning is because for the past 20 years, he got sick and tired of doing the good stuff, almost like Hogan. Like, I did all the this or that for WCW, and now Cena's saying he was in a toxic relationship with us, and he was sick and tired of the "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants, and he was tired of the fans wanting more of him. But it had for the past couple of years, I'd say the last 4 or 5 years, the fans were supporting Cena. There were no "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants. There weren't. Not even when he would come out with his theme song where people would sing along, John Cena sucks. You wouldn't even hear that either. So I'm sitting there hearing this reasoning going, this makes sense. But if we were back in 2012 where the rumor was Cena was going to turn heel, he had new merch made, he had a new theme song made, but this is 2025. And it just seems like they took an easy way out where they went, all right, remember all those ideas you had? Because Cena had all these ideas back in 2012. Remember all these ideas you had back in 2012? Use them now. But it doesn't make sense in today's world. Now people are booing him because he wants us to boo him. But no one was really booing Cena. So it felt like this heel turn was being forced out of us to boo him. And it's like, all right, you chanted Cena sucks. All right, now I want you to do it. And it's like, okay, and the fans are doing it. But I don't understand. Now, okay, we have to put a pause to the story to now think about The Rock. Again, where was he? Weeks gone, Raws went by, SmackDowns went by, 6 weeks to 5 weeks to 4 weeks. Finally, he is mentioned by Cody to Cena. And Rock is nowhere to be found. We flash forward to WrestleMania Night 2. Here we go. Cody makes his awesome entrance. John Cena makes his very bland entrance. And the match was not good. Cena wrestled this basic professional wrestling match. Headlocks, wrist locks, arm this, moves. He didn't do his 5 moves of doom. He did the attitude adjustment, I believe, I remember. But it was this really robotic and slow, I don't care attitude from Cena. And then it happened. That Fiend song, no offense to Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul, but that freaking Fiend song of Travis Scott plays. And here comes Travis Scott. Oh, okay. Here comes Travis Scott. Interference, and then again we're thinking, all right, if there's Travis Scott, here has to come The Rock. Travis Scott walks down the aisle like if his feet were made of molasses, and he finally makes it to ringside. And he interferes, pulls out the ref, allegedly beats him up, I can't recall, distracts Cody. Cena hits him with the belt. Travis Scott throws the ref back in the ring, I believe. 1, 2, 3. I paraphrased, I jumped ahead, but basically Travis Scott helps John Cena become a 17-time world champion, thus breaking Ric Flair's record. I was like, someone is missing. Pause the story. Let's go back again. According to The Rock, after Elimination Chamber, he contacted Triple H, he contacted John Cena and Cody and said, the final boss's job is done. What job? What did you do? You did really nothing. All you did was introduce Travis Scott, who I thought was it looked like a mini Rock at Elimination Chamber. Both of them came out with their belts, and I'm like, all right, but you messed with our heads. And according to The Rock, again, according to him, he said that WrestleMania's main event really didn't have any plans leading to the match and then the ending of the match. So I don't know if that was a dig to Triple H and creative. I don't know, but it seemed like someone told Rock, all right, yeah, we have these WrestleMania plans, but we don't have an ending to our story. And again, just like last year, he jumped in there and decided to add himself to it, to the hype. And so probably, and again, this is where I give Triple H a little bit of sympathy and empathy. Well, it's more sympathy, and I feel bad for him, where it's like, all right, I haven't written the final plans for WrestleMania. Oh, crap, Rock's here. All right, whatever plans he had in pencil, not in pen, or typed up and saved, he probably just chucked them and said, all right, Rock's here. What do you want? Let's help us out. What ideas you have? But according to The Rock, there were no final plans for WrestleMania. There was no ending to this story. So again, who's telling the truth here? Do we believe The Rock? Do we believe that Triple H said that? It's just all mind-boggling. And so, why do I blame The Rock for this, and why he shouldn't have? Well, here's the thing: if his intent was never to be part of the WrestleMania main event night 2, or the conclusion to John Cena's heel turn, or the conclusion of that main event match, he should have never showed up at Elimination Chamber. Because if we're to believe him, he said that I was contacted to help just boost ticket sales to Elimination Chamber, then he should have done that. Nowhere did Rock say, well, TKO Endeavor called me and said, Rock, we need help for you to sell tickets. But also, feel free to add yourself to the main event plans of WrestleMania. I'm going off of what he said, that he was only contacted to help boost ticket sales to Elimination Chamber. But with that ending to Chamber, here's me thinking, let's say if I'm on the fence to go to Las Vegas and go to WrestleMania, I'm probably going to buy tickets tonight too. And if we're to believe WWE's numbers, attendance numbers, which I don't, night 2 had about, I think it was like night 1 was 61,000 and night 2 was 63,000. Okay, more tickets at night 2, which in my mind, again, playing off of their numbers, makes sense. Maybe people wanted to see the main event, the real main event. There's only one main event, in my opinion, but whatever. To see the main event between Cody and Cena, maybe even witness Cena winning his 17th championship. But also The Rock is going to be there. So there was this falsehood of, The Rock is now involved in the main event picture, and he's going to be at WrestleMania and factor in it somehow, just like he was last year. I mean, last year he had the match in night 1, then he interfered in night 2. But it was pretty much expected. Now, yes, they never advertised The Rock at being at WrestleMania, but they also never said he wasn't going to be there. So here, this is where I now blame not only Rock, but now I blame WWE. Because if Rock wasn't going to be there and WWE knew he wasn't going to be there, somehow bring that up. Cena could have said something like, me and The Rock, we did what we did at the Elimination Chamber, but he's going to stay home. I got this. I'm going after 17 myself. I thank The Rock for everything, but I have this. Or The Rock, just like he did last year heading to WrestleMania, could have made Instagram videos on his social media, Instagram, X, whatever, and said something like, John Cena, you did a great job at the Chamber match. You know what? I believe in you. You got this. You can handle it without me. Just make an effort in this storyline to get us fans to believe that he's not going to be there. And we also think back to the early reports that Dave Meltzer was reporting that Rock was the only one saying it. Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania 41. He's not penciled in for it. There's no plans for him to be there. He's not going to be there. Someone called that out on Instagram to The Rock, like, "Hey Rock, I'm hearing reports that you're not going to be at WrestleMania." And what was Rock's answer? Don't believe in the BS. That's what The Rock said. What does The Rock say? He says, don't believe in the BS. And so all this is happening on the road to WrestleMania. The hype isn't there. The main event, at least for your main event, the hype was not there. We didn't see Cody and Cena together for barely anything. And it was not a fun build to WrestleMania. And then, not only did you have Rock doing it, but then you had Triple H go on an interview and basically tell us fans to shut up and enjoy the product. And then The Rock said that basically too, where it's like, we fans need to just shut up and enjoy the ride. That's nice to tell your audience to shut the hell up, don't complain, and just enjoy what we spoon feed you. Someone used to say that to us, the fans. And that man is no longer not only in control of WWE, he's no longer in the company. And that was a page right out of his playbook of telling us fans to basically shut up and enjoy what we're doing. But until we fans revolted, then they finally changed their plans. I think of WrestleMania 30. But even sooner than that, I think of way back in the day of 1993-94, where Vince wanted Lex Luger to be the one, to dethrone Yokozuna from the WWF Championship. And then they had, and again, you want to talk about being crazy, that one Superstars taping where I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube, where Vince actually gave the title, the Winged Eagle title, the beautiful Winged Eagle title that I adore. It's in my bookshelf behind me up top. He actually gave it to Lex Luger, put it around his waist, and introduced Lex as the new WWF champion just to see what the crowd would do. And he got a pop. But I think Vince went, oh dear. But then again, he went, oh. So he said, all right, instead of SummerSlam to crown him as champion, Vince's bright idea was to wait more months to crown Lex at WrestleMania. But again, though, they did that storyline deal where Jim Cornette signed a contract where Lex had only one shot to do this, which was at SummerSlam, and Lex lost. And so how can Lex Luger face Yokozuna for the title? They got this 1-900 number voting thing. So should Lex Luger be able to be added to the Royal Rumble? And of course, yes, won. And so Lex was added to the mix. But after that whole fiasco with the belt, which I do believe was before the Rumble, I'm pretty sure it was, they did the double ending with Bret and Lex because Bret was crazy still over with the fans. And so you do the double ending. The ref raises Lex's hands. You got cheers. Decibel levels, 0.05. The other ref raises Bret's arm. Decibel levels explode. The machine breaks. Bret gets this huge pop. But again, Vince was stubborn. He doesn't want to give the credit to us, even though we do things for us. Remember, we're the authority. And finally, he pivoted. Luger didn't win, and we went back to Bret. Don't get me wrong, I was happy. But proof that the fans, when you do listen to the fans, we know what we're saying. And now we flash back to last year where the fans revolted against his Rock Roman thing. All right, Rock went with it as he probably went kicking and screaming and said fine, and he decided to go heel. But again, though, it worked. The fans wanted Cody and Roman. That's what we wanted. They did it kicking and screaming, but we got it satisfied. But then we go back to the Raw after WrestleMania last year. Cody's in the ring, the brand new champion. Out comes Dwayne. And what does he say? Before that, he goes, "Can I hold your belt?" He wants to hold the belt. Okay. Cody gives him his title. Rock gives him his title, and Rock's holding the WWE Championship. I was like, well, this is really weird. Gives it back. But what does The Rock say to Cody? The Rock says, your story with Roman is over, but our story has just begun. So now we flip over to this year. If you're lucky enough to remember what Rock said last year, you remembered that. Like, okay, Rock showed up, and again, if you don't know, this is before Rock's story at the Pat McAfee. Okay, Rock did say the story between him and Cody has just begun. All right, this makes sense. This makes sense. That it was Cena who joined The Rock, as far as we know. Rock is, again, giving hell to Cody. Cool. Now it's The Rock versus Cody. All right, that's fine. With now Cena added to it. Last year was Roman added to it. Now it's Cena. It just seemed like, all right, The Rock's going to be that thorn in Cody's side, which, again, I don't have a problem with. No one, I don't think anybody did. But then the road to WrestleMania, where the hell is The Rock? Go back to the Pat McAfee show. He said that the final boss was done. So again, though, you couldn't do that because the last shot at Elimination Chamber was the three guys, the three heels standing united. And so us fans bought into a lie, or not even a message. We just bought that at Mania it's going to be Rock in Cena's corner basically, and Travis Scott, and Cody with nobody. I mean, the odds of getting Dustin was very slim to none because he's with ROH. Dusty's dad is not around. God rest his soul, the dream. So who would be on Cody's side? So again, the odds were stacked against Cody again. Cool, okay, fine. This time now, we're heading to Mania going, all right, now can Cody overcome the odds? Or will Cena actually win number 17? My pick was Cody. I didn't think Cena should win 17 as a heel because I didn't like this Cena versus us. It's like, why are you hating on us? Your objective should be becoming the 17-time champion, but he was throwing it in our faces instead of Cody's until we finally got them one-on-one, face-to-face. But to this day, and again, I waited to watch what they would do on Raw and SmackDown. To this day, it's still Cena yelling at us. And they're just throwing opponents in his way. But back to The Rock, if he was not going to be involved at all at WrestleMania, he should have not interjected himself in the main event storyline at Elimination Chamber. That is what the problem has come down to. I know it's something not to harp over, but this is why I think the road to WrestleMania was disappointing. That's why the match was eh. Now, I'm not saying The Rock needs to show up every year. Oh, Lord have mercy if he does. But you can't tease the audience. You can't pull us with a chain like that and not expect us to not necessarily play booker or fantasy book, but you can't blame us for somewhat getting excited like, oh, the match Cody and Cena at Mania with The Rock. You can't blame us for doing that. Now, should we fantasy book? Well, it's up to you. It's up to what you want to do. If that hypes you up for a pay-per-view, so be it. But you hear predictions, people post predictions, they discuss predictions. You probably started a pool with your friends and all that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if The Rock was not going to be involved in the main event, he should have not involved himself in the final scene at Elimination Chamber. Because everybody basically hosed the crowd. Let's keep it real. Rock did it. Triple H did it. WWE did it. I'm not blaming Cody or Cena to a point, but the company did it and The Rock did it. And for Rock just to clean his hands going, no, I was never going to be involved in the plans of the match. Fooled me and a lot of people. Now, what was one sign that I knew The Rock wasn't going to show up? The segment before, when Stone Cold Steve Barricade crashed his ATV, but before that. But the fact that Austin came out to read the number of the attendance, I went, he's not going to come out again. And besides the fact that what added more sprinkles to this cake was the fact that he crashed his ATV, that lady, I don't know what happened with that lady. Everyone's saying she's acting. I can understand if she was shocked and surprised by a guy. Because if you look at the video, when Steve crashed, he was actually up from his ATV. He could have flown over and speared her. But he didn't, praise God. So if she sat back in shock and awe, I'm okay with that. I don't think Austin touched her. That barricade did its job, but it's not supposed to really do the job. But as we saw in the videos, Austin missed the ramp going to the stage, going down the ramp. So Austin was hitting a little Steve Weisers probably beforehand. So when Austin came out to announce the attendance number, that's when I went, he's not going to come. And again, after that accident, I'm like, he's not coming back out. Because that's a long-ass ramp, and all right, he went down in his ATV. Austin's going to walk down that ramp? I don't think so. And then Travis Scott, like I said, had molasses on his feet that he took forever. But again, what had happened for the road to WrestleMania this year, again, you gotta. I blame Rock. I blame Triple H. And again, I know creative is hard and all that, but if indeed the buck stops with Triple H and creative, he should have confronted Rock and been like, all right, you're involving yourself in the main event because that's what you're doing. Are you going to be at Mania? let's discuss this. Let's think of plans. What are you thinking? And whatever Rock's assistant's name is, I forgot what his name is. Let's discuss plans. All right, what do you see for this? Maybe let's help each other out. Like, maybe that was true what The Rock said, that there were no final plans for the main event for WrestleMania. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but with 6 weeks to go and you still didn't have plans for it. Again, I'm not saying come like September before WrestleMania, that's when you should have the plans, but you should have an idea of what you want to do with your main event at WrestleMania, and then maybe a month or two afterwards. But again, though, I'm just a fan. Monday morning quarterbacking. But this WrestleMania build was not that good overall, but most importantly, the main event. Now, this John Cena heel turn, if The Rock doesn't show up at Elimination Chamber, just do it at WrestleMania. If that was the ultimate goal. If you always wanted John Cena to become a heel, save it for Mania. Because, all right, you have the build. Cena getting a little paranoid, like, all right, I won the Elimination Chamber. This is it. My last WrestleMania that I'm ever going to wrestle on, according to him, I have to win. It's almost like Austin in 2001. That sit-down interview with JR and The Rock. He's like, I need to beat you, Rock, more than anything. So you heard desperation. And then the SmackDown before WrestleMania, I believe it was Kevin Kelly caught up with Austin leaving, and Austin said, I will do anything in the world to become WWF champion. What happened at WrestleMania? He shook hands with Satan himself. We can talk about what happened with Austin some other time, but moral of the story was Austin showed desperation, and we saw it at WrestleMania. We flash back to this year. The weeks leading to WrestleMania, Cena could have been on the mic and been like, you guys, look, I'm so excited. And then and before Cody shows up, just with the crowd, like, this is it. My last WrestleMania. I need to win. Again, desperation. Like, I need to win. It's my last WrestleMania. I won the Elimination Chamber. I got the right to face the WWF champion, because Jay already picked Gunther. So it's Cena and Cody. And then Cody comes out, and you could have done something like, Cena could have played it off in real life to Cody, like, look, listen, like, I respect you. I respect what you've done to this business. I respect you came back. You're the WWE champion for over a year. Good job, bro. But listen, it's my last year. It's my last WrestleMania. I'm sorry, man. It's going to be a dogfight, but I'm going to win, or I'm going to beat you, or I have to win. And Cody could have done the same thing. Like, I respect you, Cena. You're a hero of mine. You showed me what it is to be a real champion. And when I walk around with this title on my shoulder, I wanted to be just a champion, just like you. But as much as I respect and honor you and the traditions that you've done to this company and everything you've given this company, I'm sorry. I love being the WWE champion. He could throw it back to us. I'm their champion. Cool, whatever. And at WrestleMania, I'm sorry, but I'm going to retain. So you have two compelling babyface stories going, the desperate challenger versus almost a desperate champion, because Cody can tell Cena, like, I know how not dangerous you are, but I know how good you are, and I know, like, in top main event matches, you win. But so have I. And you have, like, a duel now. Now you've turned a boring babyface duel to an interesting baby duel. Again, it's all about the journey. Again, a good friend, Mr. Gino, on another podcast I saw, he used the Avengers as a reference to what has happened, and I'm going to use it too. So, Gino, I'm completely ripping you off, but I'm giving credit to you. I'm looking at it as the build-up to Endgame. It started with Iron Man. Iron Man 1. And it built up all the way to Endgame. And yes, you can say Marvel had some misses, some little dents on the road. But overall, the road to Endgame was great. This was the first time in movie history that a cinematic universe was created to tell a story to end at Endgame. we can discuss post Endgame, but I really don't want to because I haven't been paying attention to things. But I caught all the movies heading to Endgame. And again, some bumps here and there, but overall, a damn good job, Disney, Marvel. Damn good job. I can't say the same to this year's WrestleMania. Last year's WrestleMania, after the Rumble fiasco, then it got good because we got the final boss, all right, and then we had what we had at Mania last year. This year, I can't say the same. Other matches were hyped up pretty good, and some were, ugh. So that's why I say overall, the road to WrestleMania this year was all right. Let's run it down real fast. Jay and Gunter. Jay won the Rumble. And then what? It took the 2 to 3 weeks before Mania for it to finally get good? Oy. Okay. Stratton and Charlotte. Same. They had that off the script promo. Okay. Naomi and Jade. All right. Even the women triple threat match, which was, I think, the match of the night on night 2. It was a first match, but it was the match of the night. Their road was, I spoke about it before. What I thought should have happened was when it was Rhea versus Io with Bianca on the outside for the women's championship, the ref should have called a disqualification on Io for Bianca touching Rhea. And so now Rhea goes bonkers and that's how now you have the contract signing between Io and Bianca, but now you give Rhea reason to steal the contract and sign her name. Because, again, I don't know if we're supposed to follow this in the storylines, but I think it was after that match, she did an interview on the social medias, Rhea did, and she basically admitted that she lost the match because of her own fault. That right there disqualifies her or justifies her doing anything stupid to try to include herself in that women's title match. Once you admit that it's your fault, you screwed up, you're done. But then they have her come out, stop the contract signing, put her name on there again. Shout out to WrestleMania 20. We get that. But there, in that case, Triple H and HBK were feuding for such a long time. Even though Benoit won the Rumble, HBK apologized. He's like, I'm sorry, but me and Hunter, this is going to end at Mania. And Benoit's like, no, it's me and Hunter at Mania. HBK kicks Benoit, signs the contract, and then they made the triple threat final. But at least there it kind of made sense. Like, all right, HBK and Hunter hate each other. And the forgotten one was Benoit because all the attention was on HBK and Hunter, their hatred. But again, Benoit rightfully won the Rumble to pick whatever championship he wanted to go after. Here, Rhea attacks Bianca because Bianca apparently was cheering Io on? Okay. Moving on. The triple threat match that ended night 1. Punk, Rollins, and Roman. Had its build up, the whole story about Heyman, where he's going to go. And again, that match was good. It was very good. The ending was cool. I predicted Punk winning, but I thought, all right, I predicted, I think I wanted Seth to win. But then everyone's like, oh, will Heyman join Seth? No, it's not. Oh, he did. All right, cool. And then the Raw after Mania was awesome. They built this new Dangerous Alliance. Cool. There's a positive thing coming out of Mania. And those are just the matches that are coming to my mind right now. But focusing on The Rock and the main event, he should have not been added to it. He should have not been involved if this is what was going to happen. Because they messed with all of us, messing with our minds, thinking he's going to show up in night 2. And sure enough, more tickets were sold for night 2. And I don't think it was fair to screw the fans around like that, to mess with their heads like that. You can tease us with things here and there, little things on social media and all that, but overall, it wasn't a smart idea, and that's why I think this year's WrestleMania completely failed, and you have Hunter saying, telling us fans to shut up and enjoy the show. But no, Hunter, I'm sorry. If you give us crap, we're not going to enjoy it. And if you tease us like this and you don't come through, and again, no one ever said, yes, I will give him credit, no one ever said Rock was going to be there, but you also never said he was not going to be there. So, sorry, Hunter. Sorry, Rock. If that's your excuse, Rock, cool. But I'm very disappointed in this year's Mania's build and the show overall. And you can't do this for a show like Mania. Now we see what happens. We're moving on to the next pay-per-view, Backlash. But overall, I did not like Rock's reasonings. And not that I didn't buy it, but if that's what he wants to believe, you believe it. Because I thought it was messed up what he did. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Shout out in the comments of what you thought of this year's WrestleMania. What did you think of Rock's response? Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to get more videos. And again, the next video I do promise will be the State of the Union of AEW. I'm going to see what happens on Dynamite. Maybe I might save it after the pay-per-view, after Double or Nothing. We'll see, but that'll definitely be the next one. Till then, take care of yourself, everybody around you, and of course, as always, God bless.